Welcome all, Bernie here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook. So looking at the DXY on the daily, nothing's really changed. We got the 5 down with bullish divergence, looking at the A, B, C, and then we'll get another C up. I was starting to look for sells. On the H4, we're looking at this WXY, X2, and then a Z up. This is starting to turn into a larger correction. We do have bull hidden here. So more than likely, we sort of got 3 up in here. So we can look at this as an A, B, C in here for another one up. On the H1, it's quite difficult though, because we have a lower low here. And this is looking rather corrective. So more than likely we'll get some sort of a correction in here, and then we'll get another one down for an A, B, C before we get another one up for the larger A, B, C, and then you get that larger A, B, C. So I think we may, on the H1, you can only really look for the sell because it's looking very bearish. Unless you get a bullish setup, you know, you'd really want a nice bullish setup before you look for that buy. If you're looking for this here to be the end of the wave, like the end of the structure, A, B, C, and then you get that A, B, C, you really need a buy setup. At the moment, it's looking bearish still. So if you do get a sell, you can look for that sell because we do have bearish divergence here. We've got a lot of bearish divergence. So if you do get a sell, you still can look for that sell. AU on the daily. So nothing's changed on this either. We're looking for WXY, X2, and then a Z down. H4, we're getting that A, B, C. Still quite a bit of room up to that 100 fib. H1, starting to get, I think we may have actually lost the divergence now. Yeah, we have lost the divergence. So you still can look for buys. You know, the only way you can buy this now, and it is getting risky, you know, put a buy stop just above the top, and you know, very risky though. You know, this was your trade in here. You know, break of this correction and then go. EU on the daily. So we're looking for buys on this as well. Like I showed last week, I'm looking at A, B, C, and then we'll get that C, larger C down, A, B, C. That's the way I'm looking at it. On the H4, you can only, well, like I said last couple of weeks, you know, we got this divergence here. Sorry, between this one here and this one here. It's starting to look bullish. I think if you get a buy set up in this, look for it, because this here, we might get a really nice impulse up here. We got bullish divergence here. High. Any correction you get, whatever happens in here, whatever happens in there, it's going to be corrective, and then look for that buy. And you'll be targeting that 100 fib. But so I think we got enough data there to draw the target on the daily. It may still give us another lower low, but you know, we're looking at that 120.80 area, you know, as your first target, that 100 fib. I just change that to right color, and we nearly bounced off that 50 fib, which is nice. So start looking for the buyers on EU. That should be nice. Should start to take off. GU on the daily, nothing's changed. We're looking at this like A, B, C, very similar to EU, but EU hasn't gone yet, whereas GU's gone. On H4, we're looking last week in here. It actually did give us a cross down on here. We're looking for this one down. Last week, I said if we get one down and you get a buy set up, look for that buy. So we did get a cross on this, so we can start to look here. I am only really looking for that 100. Is that the right? Yeah, so I'm only really looking for this 100 fib, but we may get an like it may turn into expanding and go up to this 161.8. We don't know. We don't have any bearish divergence on the H4. So as you can see, last week I was just looking for that A, B, C. So the A, B, C in here, and then look for that C up. On the H1, we do actually have bearish divergence. So you have to be a little bit careful. But why this trend line here holds, you can still look for the buys. It may actually already be at the 100 fib. No, there's still a little bit more room. So there's still a little bit more room, but you will have to be careful once you hit this 100 fib because it's right on that trend line as well. So we may get a lot of resistance. NU on the daily. Last week I was hoping this would go and break this low, but like I said, you know, wave C in here did go and break this low over here, so it has completed the pattern. It would have been nice, like I said last week, if it did go and break that low, but it hasn't. So we have to look at it as a complete structure now. A, B, C, and then we get that larger C down. On the H4, we're looking for that. We're looking for that C up, A, B, C. So this was your buy in here. We can draw that target here. First targeting that 100 fib. So any buy setup you get, you know, you can start looking for that. Well, you know, you would have looked for that buy last week because we were in here and it was looking bullish. So if you're in that buy, you just stay in it. First target and your second target is at 161.8. UY. This is really taken off. We're always looking for that C up. We're looking at A, B, C. The problem I found with this one here was we got this C. We got this C down in 3 waves, and then we got this nice impulse up, breaking the trend line. I was just looking for a flag or correction in here to go. Instead, we got a really big correction in here, which sort of confused me whether we're going to get just an A, B, C in here, and then another one down for some sort of a larger correction. But as you can see, it's really taken off on the daily, and we're looking at that 117 area for the 100 fib on the daily. On the H4, we had this WX. Well, I was just looking for that A, B, C. This one here went past the 100 fib, and we didn't have any of that bearish divergence, so made it difficult for the sell. So on the H1, last week we were just looking for the Z up. We're looking for that WXY, X2. We had that ball hidden here, so we're definitely looking for that, 123 and the 161.8 as your first and your second target. It's gone straight through there. It's gone straight through those targets. So it still is a wave Z, but we can look at this as an extended wave in here. And that's what I'm looking at it as, an extended wave. Extended wave Z. It makes it difficult, but yeah, because we do start have that divergence, but only in the like the WXY, X2. We had that ball hidden on here as well, and then we got that Z up with the bearish divergence. So now I think we should be coming to the end of the wave Y on the H4, and we can start to look for the sell for the larger correction. So if we just go back to the H4, we can look for our target that we want to go into this wave X before we get that Z up. So we're looking for a 38.2 retracement. Now this wave Y may not be over. So, once this wave is over, we'll be targeting this 38.2. So if you do get any sell setups on the H1, like I said, we are getting bearish divergence here. So if you do get a sell set up, definitely look for it, targeting that 38.2. Looking at the Swissy on the daily, nothing's changed. We're looking at A, B, C, and an A, B, C in here. So we're looking for downside on this one. Sort of not going along with the UY, but yeah. So last week we were looking for this, and we did get a move down in here, and we don't have any bullish divergence there. So now we have to really be careful, because this one here didn't get down to the 100 fib. I don't think this one did get down to the 100 fib here. So it didn't get anywhere near that 100 fib. And we don't have any bullish divergence between this low and this low. There's no bullish divergence. I thought I had the trend line on there. Not sure why it's gone, but so we got 3 up here. If you do get any sort of a sell set up in here, look for that sell down to the 100 fib. We will start to get bullish divergence, as soon as this low gets broken. So you know, I'd be definitely taking half off, even though we are looking for a larger move down. It's just not looking bullish, you know. It's not looking bearish, sorry, you know, on the H4, because we've got 3 down, and yeah, it didn't really go, you know. We've got a deep correction in here, so just be careful at that 100 fib. Looking at the CAD on the daily, so we're looking at an A, B, C in here for a B wave. A, B, C. Like I said last week, I think whatever's happening in here, it's corrective. And when we went down to the H4, we're looking at that 335 pattern for a complex correction. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, it's bounced off that 161.8, like I said last week, you know. We can get down to that 161.8 and then get a correction, and then we'll get that Z down. So really, you really have to wait for that correction. Unless you're going to just scalp it up to the 38.2 of this move here. So we do have bullish divergence there now on the H1. This still isn't looking bullish here though yet, but I think, you know, you can scalp up in here. I could probably draw that the retracement that we're looking for. So we're looking for that 38.2, which is around the trend line as well. So, you know, if you do get a buy set up, it's deep in here, but if you do get a buy set up, you know, start looking for the buys. This wave Y may not be over and we may get another one, but whenever we get that buy set up, you know, you can start to look for that 38.2 retracement just as a scalp in the X2 UY on the daily. So we're looking for that WX, Y, X2, and then the Z up. I was looking for another one down in here to give me that Z up. You know, I was looking for a flat in here, but like I said, you know, this can be a contracting flat in here. So this can be a contracting flat for A, B, C, finishing off the X until we get that Z up. It's nearly up to that first target, the 123.6, and then we're second targets at 161.8. Like I showed quite a while ago, if you go back through my videos, we've been waiting for this Z up for a long time. So we got take that off. So it ended up getting a flat in here. Like I showed, you know, we're looking for that A, B, C, and then a bigger one down for an A, B, C to finish off this C wave before we go. But this has just gone straight through. So we have to look at it as a flat in here. So this is the end of wave B. And we're getting a impulsive wave up now. Oh. So we're getting this impulsive wave up. We've got a W. This was very deep. Like I showed, you know, I was really looking for correction up here to give us that 100 fib. Instead it gave us that really deep correction, which makes it hard. you know. But as you can see now, you know, this has gone through. If I remove this, this has gone way past the 161.8, I dare say. It's even gone past the 250. So next target's at 250, you know, 250 fib. So it's gone straight through the 161 and everything. Really, you have to wait for this now. There's no divergence. If you're looking for the buy, you can scalp on the H1 flags, but it's getting very risky, you know. You're better off to wait, you know, for your X2 and then there's trade to Z up than trying to buy at a top. It's very risky. This one really took off. So even if you're looking at the H1, you know, you got a WX, like I showed last week. We're looking for an X2 here. It never crossed, and then a Z up. But if we look at a WXY, still look for that X2, and then you can trade that Z up on the H1 as well, to finish off that wave Y on H4 before you get that larger correction. But yeah, you have to be very careful at the top. I'll be more inclined to wait for the X2. On the H1. I'll be more inclined to wait for this X2 and then trade the Z up. EG on the daily. Again, this one, a little bit difficult. We got WXY, X2, and then we got that Z down breaking. And we're looking for it to go and hit these targets here. Now it's gone and hit that target at the 123.6. This is a larger correction. So this may be like some sort of a WXY, X2, and then now we're getting a Z down. Because this correction here is a very similar size to this correction here. But either way, really, you know, we've got a lot of bullish divergence on the daily. You don't really want to be going against that. On the H4, we got that nice C up. I was sort of looking for a nice correction in here before to sell. Didn't really give us anything to sell. Didn't give us a nice correction. If you were trying to trade this, you know, it's very difficult, very choppy. Took a long time before it actually did go. But now we're starting to get bullish divergence. You know, I'm only looking for buys. You know, the sells are over. You know, with that bullish divergence on the daily, and you're getting the bullish divergence on the H1. You know, why this trend line here holds. You know, you probably could look for scalps, but they're risky. Just scalp them. But I'll be more interested in nice buy setup to buy. Looking at the gold on the daily. So we're looking for that A, B, looking for that C up, still looking for that C up. Again, just looking for a correction in here to give us that C up. Instead, we got this large, deep correction in here. On the H4, nothing's changed. This still can give an A, B, C, like I showed last week to finish off this B wave and then give us that C up. So you still got to be careful. Yeah, if I go down to the H1, we did have that bearish divergence. So I was just looking for that. We have bearish divergence here. So it was very risky to just looking for a sell in here for that, like A, B, C down. never really gave a self setup. Or if you did get one, you would have got taken out. Now it's we got bull hidden here, you know, so more than likely I get another one up here, another one down here, and then go and break that top with some sort of a larger flat in here, like some sort of a larger flat for an A, B, C before we get that larger A, B, C down. It's going to be quite difficult to trade because I still think this is a B wave because of how choppy it is. We're getting very deep corrections. Like this was very deep, you know, and this is very deep. We do have that bull hidden. So if you do get some sort of a buy setup, you can look to buy as a scalp. You definitely want to be break even or even take half off at that top because it more than likely will fall over on you. Looking at WTI on the daily. So last week I showed this new count WXYX2 and we're getting that Z up. It's gone past the first target, that 123.6, and it's heading towards that 161.8. We're getting all this bearish divergence. Very risky to be buying. H4, there's really nothing. We don't even have any bearish divergence here yet. We had that bull hidden here. We didn't have any bullish divergence and we had that bull hidden. So we're looking for that to go and break the top. Now we're starting to get bearish divergence. So I'll be more inclined to start to look for the sells. You know, this is looking like a B wave in here. Because it's so choppy in here. So this can be some sort of an A, B, C for a larger correction and get another one up before it falls over. But either way, any sort of a break of the trend line and sell setup, I'll be looking for the sells. We're at a top. Looking at Bitcoin on the daily. Now this one has gone and broken. We're looking for that bear hidden. And like I said last couple of weeks, you know, I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, if this bear hidden here was going to play out, it should have went from here. Instead, we got a 3 down in here and it's taken off. On the H4, we're looking for that Z up. We're looking for WXY X2 and the Z up. It's hit the first and it's gone straight through the second target as well. There's no bearish divergence. So so more than likely this will go and break this top here now. Because if we look on the weekly, if you go back a few weeks ago, I showed the weekly and we do have bull hidden on the weekly. So more than likely this will go and break that top. On the H1, like I showed last week, I was looking for that 38.2 fib retracement. It nearly got there in this spike down. And now we're getting that Z up. So we got some sort of a correction in here. So we got a WXY X2 and we're getting that Z up. We're getting the bearish divergence. Very risky to be buying up here. But why this trend line holds, I guess you can start, well, I guess, you know, why this trend line holds, you could scalp the buys. Like, you know, you got a nice buy set up in here, nice flag, very risky because you already had the bearish divergence. But you know, if you get flags, nice looking flags, you can look to take them because, like I said on the daily, more than likely this top here will be broken now. more than likely this top here will get broken. Sorry about that. Sort of visit it. So yeah, now that we don't have any bearish divergence on the H4, and we have possible getting bearish divergence on the H1, you really need to wait for a larger correction before you can start to look for the buys again. It's starting to get too risky. On the daily, we are looking for that top to be broken. But I'd be more inclined to wait for a larger correction before you start to look for the buy again. S&P on the daily. So we have this bull hidden here. We've got a bull hidden here. This correction here. So more than likely this will go and break the top, like I said. On the H4, I'm just looking for an A, B, C in the B wave, and then we get that A, B, C down. This is looking very impulsive though. There's no bearish divergence. On the H1, we are getting bearish divergence on the H1. We've broken this trend line. More than likely this will continue up and we'll lose that divergence and we'll get some sort of a WXY X2 and then a Z up, possibly up to this 100 fib, and then we may get the larger correction like I'm looking forward back to the 50 fib on the daily, like this larger correction I'm looking for. Eventually we should get that larger correction. AU 200 on the daily. So this one's pretty much similar. We've got that bull hidden here. It's not valid to trade, and we have all this bearish divergence. Very risky, but we are dealing with the indices, and they just like to keep on going up and up and up, like I said last week. But on the H4, we're looking at that A, B, C up to the 100 fib, and then possibly an A, B, C in here before we go up further. We'll have to see. This one hadn't broken the top yet, but if it does, we're not going to have any divergence. So this may go like A, B, C, or a WXY X2, and then a Z up, breaking that top. We'll have to see. On the H1, very choppy. This was your correction here last week. If you did take this, you'd be still in it first. I'd still be targeting that 100 fib to start off with, and then target that 161 for your second half. But other than that, if you get bullish flags, well, you can look to buy them while this trend line here holds. But yeah, we're starting to get bearish divergence in here, so it's very risky. Looking at the DAX on the daily, this one here is given a lower low. So we can only really look to sell this on the daily, and we are at a top. On the H4, like I showed last week, I'm looking at that as an A, B, C, and then possibly an A, B, C. This is very impulsive. So we're looking at that. I was looking on the H1, as your first target here at the 100 fib. This may keep on going up to that 161.8. Actually, that's not the right one, because that's the But if I take this off, draw this one here, so we've breached that 100 fib here. So we're looking at WXY, X2, and then a Z up. There's no bearish divergence, so we're getting a very motive structure. Ideally, you'd be waiting for this X2 and then look for that Z up if you're going to trade this. That's the safest option, in my opinion. Looking at the Ftse on the daily, this one's actually broken the top. This has broken this top here. We got a lot of bearish divergence, you know, very risky to be buying. So this is becoming a just a regular flat. We're just looking at as an A, B, C up to the 100 fib, and then possibly more downside. Because we got this 3 in here, we have to look at it as a B, C. It's very close to that 100 fib now, so very risky to be buying. This was very hard because if you were looking at it, this one didn't break the top, so it wasn't an expanding triangle. So we're sort of looking at it as some sort of a B, C for an A, B, C. We're getting a lot of bearish divergence. Yeah, very risky to be buying, in my opinion. And there's really no sell set up on it. All right. I'd be just staying out of it until you get something clear. You know, I'll be even drawing a trend line in here, and you know, if you get a sell set up, this is looking bullish still up here, so more than likely get another one up, then trend line break, sell set up, start to look for the sell, at least down to the trend line. So I hope you enjoyed the weekly outlook. Share, like, subscribe, enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.